So, are we good to go now, ma'am? Or
Yeah.
we shall wait for 2-3 minutes more?
2-3 minutes more so that everybody joins. I think so. Dr. Swati ma'am, is it okay?
Yeah.
2 minutes, huh?
Okay, ma'am. Sure.
Just see Dr. Harish.
We should start by 10:05. Then the panelists can keep joining as long as your initial inauguration guest of honors and all are present.
मैम ज्वाइन कर लीजिए. हाँ हाँ. So we can start now, I think.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning. Welcome.
So, ma'am, with all your due permission, we are starting the session for today. I request the attention of all the faculties and delegates. I will take few minutes of yours to let me introduce me and my faculty members of the session. Good morning and welcome to one and all. I'm Rituparna from Clarinet, the designated session assistant for a seamless experience. And Clarinet is India's most trusted and widely used digital platform with multiple enriching services exclusively for the doctors. Clarinet is very proud to be a digital partner for this event organized by Association of Adolescent and Childcare in India. And the topic of today's session is role of parents and grandparents in adolescents' behavior. So without wasting any further minute, let's do this session where we have a wonderful panel discussion. And for that, I would like to invite Dr. Chandan Kachru to take over. Ma'am, over to you, ma'am. Please proceed forward.
Till Chandan joins.
So, ma'am,
Welcome everybody on behalf of Aacci. And I'm very happy and very grateful to the UDAN project of Haryana OBGY for collaborating with Aacci on this program. And over the years, they have always been collaborating, and we have had wonderful programs with Haryana OBGY, especially with Dr. Chandan Kachru conducting. So over to you, Chandan, for starting the program.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. I welcome you all to this program. I'll just share my screen. So today we will be talking about the role of parents and grandparents in adolescent behavior. And we have been doing many webinars with Aacci, and I'll just give a brief introduction of this team. So Aacci is the parent organization of the adolescent health in India. And we at Haryana OBGYN are also doing a lot of work in various disciplines of medicine, one being adolescent medicine. And this is the team of Team Haryana OBGYN. We have our president, Dr. Ragni Agarwal, then our secretary, Dr. Jyoti Malik, our treasurer, Dr. Saroj Kumar, our director of Project Udan, which is doing a lot of work in adolescent health, Dr. Savita Singhal, myself, and with patronage from our Aacci friends, Dr. Swati Bhave and Dr. Sameer Shah, who's the national coordinator Aacci, and ma'am is the executive director of Aacci. And this is Team Haryana. And this is the week which we have been celebrating over the last week with especially the concept of grandparenting, which is not much discussed in the adolescent health workshop. This is the great idea of our great Dr. Swati Bhave ma'am. We have Dr. Lele as the honorary founder chairperson, then Dr. Yashwant Bhave, Dr. Swati Bhave, Dr. Sharmila Lele, Dr. Sameer Shah, Dr. Anuradha Suvani, Dr. Surekha Joshi, Dr. Prashant Karya, Dr. Sandeep Kawade, Dr. Shailaja Mane, Dr. Anjali Saxena, a beautiful team working for the adolescent health. Then we have the regional centers, city centers, and international centers also working for the same. Today's program, our chief guest is Dr. Paramjeet Kaur, a great friend of mine, right from my childhood. Dr. Paramjeet Kaur is Director Arya Samaj Schools of Ludhiana. She led BMC Arya Model Senior School, Chasinagar as a principal for 23 years and brought it on the summit of unparalleled success. She received her early education at premier institutions from various parts of the country. She completed her master's in chemistry from Punjabi University, Patiala. She received her PhD degree in education from Punjab University, Chandigarh. She is also an avid reader, a researcher. She has got prestigious National Teacher Award 2015 by our former President of India, Honorable Pranab Mukherjee, National CBSE Teachers Award, Vidyaratan Award, Swabhiman Award, Radhakrishnan, many more accolades. Over to you, Dr. Paramjeet. I welcome you as my chief guest today. Please unmute yourself.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so pleased to be here this morning, and I'm happy to have joined you. All the esteemed doctors who are doing so much of work in the field of adolescent education. And the topic that you all have chosen today, the role of parents and grandparents in the in the development of adolescents, is, I think, very relevant and something the need of the hour. And I think being in the field of education, though we deal with our schools are K-12 right from kindergarten to class 12. So somewhere from 6th or 7th, we have our adolescents, young adolescents, and then growing up adolescents. So by the time they pass out, they are quite mature adolescents. So we deal with adolescents all the time. And no doubt, parents do play a very important role in the development of these adolescents, in the wholesome growth of these adolescents. But getting grandparents into this role is something which is commendable, and I think we should work a little more on this, getting grandparents along with the parents. Because it's not only the children who need parents all the time, and I think lucky are those children who grow up when they have grandparents around them. And today, the situation is such, we have nuclear families. Very rarely you would see grandparents along with the children. But it'll be a humble request to all the parents that in case they can afford, do try to have the grandparents along with your family. It will be good for your children, because they run around, so much is to be done for their careers. It is the prime time to be devoted for their careers. Somewhere children are neglected, these young adolescents who need proper care are being neglected. So grandparents, if they are roped in, it is a great help. So, and you all have taken up this topic today. I'm so thankful, and you'll be throwing more light on this because I, as a layman, I can just say that yes, grandparents also play an important role, but you all would be giving us more insights. We are looking forward to an enriching session from all the esteemed doctors who are in this panel. And I must thank Dr. Chandan uh, for bringing me here, bringing me to this platform. I've been here earlier also for some few occasions. It's always been a pleasure, and it's a pleasure this time also. I wish you all more success, more wind under your wings, so that you can grow further and reach more people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Paramjit. With those great words, we move further. So we have my mentor, my guide, and the person who has shown me the way to go forward, Dr. Ragini Agarwal. She is the president of Haryana OBGYN Society. See her CV, and it will take me one day to complete it. The recipient of so many awards. She is founder, president of our Haryana OBGYN Society, vice president of FOXI, the main organization of gynecologists of India, and so many awards and accolades. Her credit. Ma'am, please, few words from you.
Very good morning to all of you. Thank you, Chandan, for inviting me here. Adolescence is a time when we lay the foundation of a human being whole life. It is so important, and her OBGYN Udan project is solely is because of tirelessly work of Dr. Chandan Kachru. She has acquired a lot knowledge, went to abroad, WHO, and learned the basics of how to deal with the adolescent. I will say in the 2 line only, parents should know the parenting. Just producing a child is not enough. Somewhere you miss, if their adolescent life, you are going to have a child who is not happy inside. And role of grandparents, it's amazing in the life of a child because parents are working all the time, as Dr. Paramjit has said. Sometimes they are neglected and they have their main developing time with the nannies. What culture can they provide to them? And my take to the grandparents also, when they become grandparent, they should stop to become in-laws. They should stop to interfering in the life of the adult child, because now their own child are a grown-up responsible adults. They should give their knowledge to the adolescents and share a loving bonding. And really, if we do in that way, our society, which is really changing towards the wrong side, will improve. Over to you, Chandan, to take over the session. Thank you so much again. I wish you very best.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for those kind words. So next guest of honor is another stalwart of our adolescent health, Professor Dr. Swati Bhave. What can I say about her? She is Professor Emeritus Adolescent Medicine, D.Y. Patil Medical College, Pune, Head of Adolescent Clinic, Jahangir Hospital, Pune, Executive Director of Aacci, our collaborator today. And this is a program today in continuation with the week we have been celebrating the Adolescent Health Week this last week. And she has been IAP president in her past, many awards and recognition for professional and community work. She has done so much in adolescent health that it will take me hours and hours to speak about it. Madam is the advocate of adolescent health in India, a policy maker who influences the government also, and has done so much work in this field. Over to you, Dr. Professor Swati Bhave, ma'am, for your time.
Thank you,
An introduction.
Thank you, Chandan, for the nice introduction. I welcome Dr. Paramjit Kaur. She is always there as a chief guest for many of our programs. And I also welcome Ragini Agarwal, being the second guest of honor. So, Chandan, many people ask me why have I started Grandparenting Forum in Aacci? So
Yes,
I would
ma'am.
just like to give a little background. I have been very fortunate to have both sets of grandparents, that is Nana Nana and Dada Dadi, that is paternal and maternal. And the indelible expression they have put on my mind, even today I remember them and what they have taught. Like my maternal grandfather was a professor of Pali and Sanskrit. And from him, we learned the languages, how important they are, and the academics and the research. My grandmother was a chronic asthmatic. And in those days, we didn't have such good therapy for asthma. And she was chronically bedridden. And still, she was always positive, smiling, welcoming us. And like a magnet, we used to go to her bed all the time. And when I asked her, Ki Aji, we say in Marathi, Aji to grandmother, how are you so positive and smiling all the time, in spite of being bedridden? And she used to say, Beta, we have to count our blessings. I've got a son and daughter-in-law who both are doctors. And unlike other old ladies, I don't have to go to the hospital when I get an acute asthmatic attack. I managed very well at home. And I've got you all wonderful grandchildren always around my bed, which brings me positivity. So from her, I learned resilience and coping skills. My grandfather was 6 feet 2 inches and a bodybuilder and superintendent of a Vyam Shala. And he used to do daily 2 hours exercise, and he used to eat very healthy, and he had regular timings. And I learned the importance of keeping your body fit and the healthy lifestyle from him. My maternal grandmother taught us the importance of lighting a diya every evening and saying prayers to God and believing in him. And much before I read Mahabharata and Ramayana, are very important epics, my grandmother told us one story of either Ramayana or Mahabharata every evening. And not just the story, she gave her wisdom and her interpretation of each story. So I have got those 4 grandparents imprinted in my mind, and even today I remember them. When we started Aacci in 2017, I realized that to reach children and adolescents, we have to go through 2 pillars of their life: teachers in school and parents at home. So we started Aacci with parents and teachers for the last many years. During my counseling for teenagers in the last 20 years, I always insist on a parent session. And then I realized that especially when the grandparents are staying with them or are actively involved, I need to have a grandparenting session too, especially when there's a conflict between the parents and grandparents over positive discipline and other aspects. And that creates a lot of problems for the children and grandparents. And I used to request the parents, can you please get the grandparents for one session? And many of them did comply. So I used to do, and I still do, a separate grandparenting session. And if there are conflicts between the parents and the grandparents, I bring them together and I have a common session between parents and grandparents. And I found that very effective. So in the year 2020, when there was a COVID lockdown, for the first time, many parents and children came in contact with their grandparents because they were closeted at home. Otherwise, working parents were out the whole day. The children were out for their school, their extracurricular activities, their tuitions. And the first time, all of them got together. And here, some families found it a very positive experience and were very happy of the support of the grandparents, whereas some of them found it very difficult and found them interfering, and there was a conflict. And that is why we decided to start the Grandparenting Forum in Aacci in the year 2020. And if you go to our website, you'll have recorded webinars in 2020, when over our centers, we had webinars like, is grandparenting nurturing or only babysitting? Grandparents' role in spirituality and values. Grandparenting role in academics. Grandparenting role in positive discipline. Grandparenting role in many, many subjects. And now it has become a routine. Aacci does regular grandparenting programs. And we started celebrating Aacci Week in 2014 when we completed 14 years. Our first was a general one. Last year, we focused on anger and violence management. And this year, we are focusing on the grandparenting theme. And that is the reason, Chandan, we have started the Grandparenting Forum. Some words which I would like to talk about with my parenting and grandparenting experience to grandparents is the do's and don'ts. One thing grandparents should remember, that they have done their job of good parenting. And now, unless it is needed that they have to be substitute parents due to some calamity when the parents are not present or the grandchildren are living with them, they should not do parenting. They should take a seat back and they should be supportive. They should be helping. And the first thing to ask the parents, that is their children, is what can I do to help you in your parenting? If you ask that question and you give the help where the parents are needed, then you are not a over interfering or overbearing grandparent, because you're fulfilling the needs of the parents. Second, if you have any conflict with your children, that is the parents, never have an open conflict between both of you shown to the children or the adolescents, because that creates a lot of conflict in their mind, has an adverse effect. Kiska sunu? Dada dadi ka, nana nani ka, ya mummy papa ka? So whatever conflicts you have, resolve them, but you must be on the same page. So the children or the adolescent know that this is the rules of the house. This is what our parents and grandparents think, and it has to be a co-parenting. Secondly, I would also like to say that some grandparents have had enough of the parenting. They have put all their life in sacrificing and looking after the children, and now they want to relax and they don't want parenting or grandparenting anymore. In such situations, we should not make the grandparents feel guilty that they're not doing grandparenting. And especially the parents should not compare, how much support the other grandparents give and you're not giving it to us. Because you can't force grandparents to become grandparents. It should be out of choice. If they enjoy it, it's not a burden. So both parents and grandparents have to understand that grandparenting should be a period of joy and relaxation for either. It should not be interference by the grandparents, nor it should be forcing by the parents कि तुमको तो grandparenting करना ही है हमारे बच्चों के. So if this is observed, and I tell daughter-in-laws, because I do a lot of corporate workshops for work balance in women, that when you keep an aya or a nanny, you tolerate so much tantrums. You pay such a high salary. Your mother-in-law can't be all that bad. If you can just learn to get along with your mother-in-law, and even if you don't like her, that's fine. But don't deprive your children of the grandmother's parenting. Because whatever she's with you, it's a different compartment of relationship. If you don't allow that to enter and allow your grandchildren and the grandmother and the parents to bond, it's a wonderful thing. So be more tolerant and don't come in between that relationship. Whatever relationship problems you may have with your mother-in-law, don't allow the grandparenting to be affected. With these words, I would like to end. Chandan, over to you.
Thank you so much. With golden words, we go to the next introduction of Dr. Sameer Shah, and he's the consultant pediatrician and adolescent specialist, Sameer Hospital and Narahari Hospital, Vadodara, and he will also be here with us. Then I invite Dr. Savita Singhal, who's our project director of Udan Harobijivayan, and she will just let you know the few introduction about our product, whatever we have done and what is our vision. Over to you, Dr. Savita. Dr. Savita is a professor, Rohtak Medical College, Obstetrics and Gynae Department. And over to you, ma'am.
A very good morning to all. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, Dr. Chandan, for including me in this program of 2 days. And just a repetition, all of us know that India is one of the country in which most of the population is a youth population. And we know that for every country, for development of every country, for well-being, we need the youth. Until few years back, our main concentration was on decreasing the mortality and increasing the physical health. But now in last few years, what we observed that our youth is going towards little drug addiction, some social inactivities, and some sort of psychological behavior which is changing. So now we have to concentrate mainly, along with those health issues, we have to concentrate on the psychological and social health as well. So keeping in these things in mind, and we launched our Udan program in February 2019, means about 5 years ago, under the leadership of our president, Dr. Ragini Agarwal. And Dr. Chandan is doing lot of work on this, and she's a backbone for this program, and most of the programs are being done by her only. And in this, we mainly are concentrating on the reproductive health along with these, and reproductive health about the menstrual hygiene, how to maintain the maturizing girls, and very, very positive thing which are doing in this involving the adult youth as well, because they have to be taken into consideration while dealing with any adolescent programs. And in the reproductive health, just counseling them about the contraception, how to prevent these teenage pregnancies, about the safe sex, and what are the good and bad things which every child should know. So they are the things which are being discussed in this. And as we know, the main role of these social, psychological, and physical health, we are taking the vaccination part also in this program. And so the main role is of the parents. And then comes even the extended family members, even the neighbors, friends. But now today we are mainly taken into account the grandparents along with the parents, which are the backbone for these social and psychological health. But as we know, as the age of marriage is still little higher in this era. And when we talk of the adolescent and the grandparents, just to keep in one thing in mind, the grandparents must be around 70s for an adolescent to have. So most of the, as the Dr. Swati discussed in detail, and even Dr. Pramjit has told, if coordination is there in the family and grandparents are fit physically and mentally, and they agree with this, so definitely the grandparents are going to have a big, big role in the social and psychological behavior and in counseling of the kids. In my time, what was it there? Our grandparents were not so old in that age. So yes, marriages were at younger ages and they were just around 50s or you can say 60s. And they taught a lot of things to us in that time. But now definitely if coordination is there, they are there to help, they are ready to help also. So Dr. Swati very well told that some say that even my mother-in-law used to tell me that now I've brought up so many children, so you take care of your kids yourself. So sometimes these problems are there in the families. And if they're definitely you're doing a very, very good job, and we will see how the panel goes. Thank you, Dr. Chandru.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining. So we start the panel now after the introductions, and I have my experts, Dr. Swati Bhave, Dr. Sameer Shah, and our panelists, Dr. Premlata Krishnan. She is a consultant pediatrician and adolescent physician, Gurugram, a very wonderful person, a wonderful human being doing lots of work in adolescent health. Dr. Harish Pemdesar, Director Professor, Department of Pediatrics, Head WHO Collaborating Center for Training and Research in Adolescent Health, and in charge Center for Adolescent Health, Kalavati Saran Hospital. Sir is also doing a lot of work in adolescent health. Dr. Piyali Bhattacharya, dear friend, she is consultant pediatrician at Sanjay Gandhi Postgraduate Institute of Medical Sciences, Lucknow, Vice President, CIP 2023. She has so many publications in her kitty. Wonderful speaker, wonderful orator. I'm sure the audience is going to love her. Dr. Om Sai, Director Professor, Adolescent Psychiatry, Lady Hardinge Medical College, New Delhi, and researcher and has many national and international publications in his name. Dr. Swati Ghate, Pediatrician, Adolescent Health Specialist and Clinical Psychologist, Joint Director, Babylon Newton Institute of Child and Adolescent Development, Jaipur. And a wonderful person doing a wonderful job for the adolescent health. Another friend of mine, Dr. Sunita Mansanda. She's from Gurgaon, Child and Adolescent Health Specialist at Max Hospital, Gurgaon, and Jain Sanji Charitable Hospital, and doing a lot of work in adolescent health. And myself, Dr. Chandan, will be coordinating the panel. So we start with the first question, and it is for you, Dr. Piyali. What are the types of parenting styles, grandparenting styles?
So Chandan, I have recently become a grandparent. So I will first tell you about the 3 types of grandparents. One is a remote type of grandparent. You know, he is somewhere away and the children are maybe abroad and they are very less involved. Another is the compassionate grandparent. About 50-55% of grandparents are compassionate grandparents. Another is the involved grandparent, about which Dr. Swati Bhave was just speaking, you know, that they get involved, they stay with the parents and the grandchildren, and they are involved with the grandparents. So having said about grandparents, Let me pass on to the parenting part.
Yes.
So about the parents, there are primarily 4 types of parents: the authoritarian, the authoritative, the permissive, and the uninvolved. So when we talk about the authoritarian, out of these, the best would be the authoritative parenting. So that is one parenting which is negotiable. But when we talk about authoritarian, please remember our own parents. उनसे तो आंख मिला के भी बात नहीं कर पाते थे हम लोग. So मैंने कह दिया, so कह दिया. मेरे घर में रहना है, मेरे नियम फॉलो करो. So these were the authoritarian ones. They did not think about कि बच्चा क्या सोचेगा या बच्चा क्या करेगा या बच्चा अभी बच्चा है, उसको वही करना है जो हमने कहा है. Next, coming to the authoritative parents, I told you that these are the best kind of parents. They are very, very good for children because the authoritarian, of course, इनमें क्या होता है, the children don't understand that हम अच्छे हैं या बुरे. Mostly they think कि सब चीज में डांट पड़ती है, everything is no, little bit of yes only. So that way वो उनका very low self-esteem they develop. And when we talk about authoritative parents, they are very good for the children because there they set rules along with the adolescent. So उनकी हामी भी होती है उस rules में, उस disciplines में. They are part of that discipline. They are part of that decision making. And this is a negotiable sort of. There are certain things in which we do not negotiate, like wearing a helmet or a seat belt, things like that. But अगर बच्चा बोले हमको टैटू बनाना है या बाल किसी अच्छे पंक स्टाइल में करना है, that is negotiable. Don't ever say no about everything. There are certain things where you can say yes, but there are a set of things where you should definitely say no. So disciplining, that part is there, but it is with the adolescent, unki हामी se. So this is the best type of parenting that one can do. Such kids are very, very comfortable. They have coping skills. They have learned a lot. They accept others. And since their opinions are valued, they learn to respect people. They are the best adjusted in the society. Now talking about the permissive parents. They set rules. Rarely, beta, mobile nahi dekhna hai. And they are 24 hours on the mobile. Abhi ruk ja, main mobile dekh raha hoon. Mama, 100 रुपए चाहिए. जा बेटा पापा की जेब से ले ले. So this is how the permissive parents are. They never ask. They never think of consequences. They will only tell the child कि ठीक है, we are there. So if they come with their issues, they will say अभी नहीं, बाद में देखते हैं, अभी करते हैं. So these children struggle academically, struggle in the society, because though there are rules in the society, they think हमारे लिए तो ये rules है ही नहीं. Many will turn out to be juvenile delinquents. Next, we talk about those parents who are uninvolved. They don't spend time with the children. They have no time. Abhi nahi, baad mein aana. So they don't know what the children are doing. They are not involved with the children. They will put them into coachings and be off with it. Ki bas ho gaya, hamara kaam khatam hai. So this is the uninvolved parents, where the children do not understand the meaning of relationships. They do not develop proper अच्छा सा involved relationships नहीं होता है, because they've not seen it with their parents. They struggle with a lot of self-esteem issues, because I remember one of the children telling me, auntie, what I can talk to you about, I cannot talk to my mother about. She has no time for me. जब भी जाती हूँ बोलती हूँ बाद में आना. So uninvolved parents are the worst kind of parents that are possibly there. One more type which has just emerged is the helicopter parenting, you know. They will sit on top of your head. अभी कहाँ गए थे, कल कहाँ गए थे, अभी क्या कर रहे हो, कभी क्या कर रहे हो, यहाँ क्यों नहीं आए, वहां क्यों नहीं आए. They are so helicopterish, सारा टाइम सर पे मंडरा रहे हैं. Such children never learn coping skills, never learn about how to adjust themselves. वो जो 10 लाइफ स्किल्स है ना, वो सब पेरेंट्स ही खा जाते हैं. So they will never learn. So never be a helicopter parent. Thank you, Chandan.
Dr. Pyali, yes, indeed, helicopter parenting, I think, has become the #1 parenting these days. They want them to do everything in life. They'll go पहले बच्चा स्कूल से आ रहा है, उसको ट्यूशन करना है, उसको फिर कराटे क्लास में जाना है, फिर उसको म्यूजिक जाना है, फिर उसको बैडमिंटन क्लास में जाना है. They make the adolescents or their children like a robot. उसको आए इंटरेस्ट है उसमें, ये नहीं है, लेकिन this is what the parents wanted themselves to be. They couldn't become, and they now want their children to learn those skills. I think that is what is helicopter parenting about, and we should resist doing that. So with all that, those types of parenting and all, Dr. Premlita, I would like to ask you, number one, which is the best style of parenting, like Dr. Pyali said, authoritative. That I don't think that. So it is so difficult to make it, one sort of parenting. Is it that parenting, or is it a mix of parenting which you should customize with your family?
As Dr. Pyali has already answered this question, that authoritative is possibly the best form of parenting, but not everybody can have only one type of parenting. So sometimes we may have to use a little bit of the other parts, sometimes we may have to be a little permissive at certain situations. At times we have to be authoritarian. So a little mix of all this would always be more practical. But ideally, authoritative parenting, as the reason given already, is that the child will learn to be self-confident and would have got most of the core life skills through this kind of parenting. They will also be well-adjusted adults in society when they grow up.
Thank you. So pure ideal and authoritative parenting, but practically sometimes it becomes impossible to do a one-to-one. Like it is not like a computer that it will be like authority. You have to be a little bit flexible and make use of the good points.
And one more thing, we'll have to be an example rather than set example.
Yes, that is a very important thing. So we go to Dr. Harish Pemde, sir. Sir, could parenting or grandparenting styles affect the adolescent health in terms of their physical health, mental health, and spiritual health?
Thank you, Dr. Chandan and the Aacci team for giving me this opportunity. Actually, whatever, if we consider health is an outcome of many things. It is definitely an outcome of the genetics children and we all carry, the food which is provided, the environment at home and in school and in community which is provided for both, all three, mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. And parenting becomes an integral part of it and very important determinant of providing a good environment for children to progress mentally, physically, and spiritually. So definitely it is a very, very important part of it. While everyone was discussing the style of parenting and what kind of parenting it should be, I was thinking that we should add another aspect to it, that technological parenting is there, parenting through mobile, parenting through various location sharing, location following, through CCTV camera, and many other gadgets are there through which parents keep an eye on children. But definitely it is the duty of parents and grandparents to provide a conducive environment for children to grow. And definitely authoritative parenting is important, but a single parent can use different styles of parenting at different times. It also varies from the personality of the child. There are some children who at times require authoritarian parenting. They may not follow the things properly. There may be an adolescent or a child who is not very, very active and who is submissive type of person. There you need to support that child very much. There may be a child who is very outgoing and at times they create problems to society in a school. There you need authoritarian parenting. So parenting style also changes with the personality of the child, depending on the home environment, societal environment. And we all understand the brain development. Children, they need protection. So it's a very fine balance by the parents, providing all the needs as well as supporting the growth and development. This is one aspect. And when we are discussing parenting, we should also learn as a clinician how we can help parents in doing good parenting. I think we should also discuss that part, that how successful we can be and we should also understand why a single parent or the mother and father are adopting a definite style of parenting. Why not the best style of parenting? So we need to understand those regions and causes also. Then only we can help them to adopt the best style of parenting for the child. Yes, your question's answer is these things are definitely affected by the home.
Sir, what is the role of grandparents here? Does the
grandparents have a dual role. They have to assist their own parenting through their children, means their children means the parents of the child.
So जैसे वो खिलाते हैं ना,
okay, so they have to do double kind of parenting, and many times this may not be very welcoming thing for the parents, and grandparents also do this kind of parenting, and it is all the power struggle at home which is there, who decides for the child. And in younger children, we do find that at times grandmothers and grandfathers, they are not very supportive of the new thing, new idea. So this may be harmful also at times. But on the other hand, they do support when parents are not there. And they also need some guidance according to the current needs of the children, which are very well defined. And because of the less number of children every family is having, all family, they want to invest whatever time they have, whatever money they have, whatever resources they have in developing this child. So grandparents definitely can help the parents in effective parenting.
So at one side, we welcome the grandparents to indulge. Now, one of the parents was complaining, मैं तो खाना रखती हूँ, but मेरे को ऐसा लगता है grandparents इतना खिला देते हैं कि मेरा बेटा मोटा हो रहा है. So how to counsel?
ये मैडम ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स के पास ना डबल प्यार होता है, बच्चे का भी और ग्रैंड पेरेंट है, तो ये
वहाँ पे आप मतलब ओवर प्रोटेक्शन हो रही है, क्या हो रहा है वहाँ पे?
मैडम सारे पीडियाट्रिशियन कहते हैं कि जो सोचते हैं कि जो डिसाइडिंग पर्सन है फैमिली में उसी से बात की जाए. एट टाइम्स हम कहते हैं क्लिनिक में भी आप अपनी ग्रैंड इसकी दादी को लेकर आओ हमारे पास, उनको हम समझाएंगे क्या होता है, क्योंकि मदर नहीं समझा सकती अपनी सास को. तो ये प्रॉब्लम्स है.
तो वहाँ पे हमें फिर जो हेड ऑफ द फैमिली होगा वो उसको बताना पड़ेगा कि हाउ टू हैंडल द सिचुएशन एट होम. यस, so that was one question raised by a parent. So next we go to Dr. Swati Ghate. With increased life expectancy, diversifying families, growing numbers of dual worker households, changing families, and higher rates of family breakdown, grandparents are now playing an increasing role in their grandchildren's life. Do you agree, and how? Dr. Swati.
Thank you, Dr. Chandan, and thank you, Aacci team. Yes, grandparents were there always, like what Swati Bhai madam was telling, Piali madam was telling. They had been there in the Indian culture. Now I think they are more into the parenting mode for an extended time. Even now, if their own children are becoming parents, still they are continuing to parent them and teach them how to rear their children, and that's how they are more involved into their grandparents. And as sir was also telling that there is only one or maybe two maximum children and four grandparents to look after him, so it becomes quite a complex situation at home. So, but they are like with all the reasons that you just told, yes, there is definitely more role of grandparents these days. I see now many families getting separated, or they are living separately for their career, for pursuing their career. So the single parent who is looking after the child has to take help of his parents, and thus many families are there with there is one parent, and the major role to look after the children and adolescent is on the grandparents. So as everybody is saying that they are more compassionate, more attached, and there are, of course, plus and minus points to it, but yes, the involvement is more. Most of the times it becomes, I think, a symbiotic relationship. Children also enjoy till a certain age. If the bond is formed, then even the adolescents enjoy. Suddenly, if the grandparents are appearing at the adolescent and grown-up age, then I think it becomes a little difficult for the adolescents to accept. So these are certain family dynamics that the current Indian society is going through. And definitely the role of COVID is very significant. Many of the parents are now back with their parents and working from home, and families are reunited and looking at the family structure with a different angle. So definitely the chances that the children and their grandparents are getting connected is more, even through the tele communication systems. Thank you.
So what I could get from the discussions is that the grandparents can show their unconditional love. They should have empathy. They should have a genuine appreciation for the grandchildren. They should have a good communication so that it doesn't get confronted. And they can impart wonderful cultural values. I remember myself as a grandchild, and I have learned all my, those pujas and prayers, like Dr. Swati was saying, how to lit a diya and all. I see very less grandparents this time getting involved in teaching those skills. See, these are life skills. In our culture, these are life skills for the children. And this inculcates that doing puja or prayer in any form of religion. And these are the children should rather go to their grandparents rather than going to their peer group to understand, what is right and what is wrong for them, isn't it? And good moral education can be given by grandparents.
And so if there are grandparents with different values, then probably children also get to know how to accept differences.
Absolutely, yes. And next we go to Dr. Sunita Mansanda. What are the expectations of parents and grandparents from the adolescents, and are they justified?
Good morning, everyone, respected senior members. So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Chandan for giving me opportunity to be a part of this, and also grateful to Dr. Swati Bhave ma'am for helping us to learn more about adolescent health. Apart from this, I would be thankful to Dr. Ragini Agarwal, Dr. Savita ma'am, and Dr. Paramjit ma'am. Well, without taking much time, as Dr. Chandan has put me in a very tough question. Actually, yes. It is a kind of a not actually expectations. Parents को भी पता नहीं लगता कि कब उनका caring attitude, कब उनका बच्चों के लिए dreams वो इतनी expectations में बदल जाते हैं कि it becomes suffocating for their kids. So, like for example, it's as far as grandparents are concerned, unless and until they are kind of a primary caretaker, most of the time their expectations are okay. They expect a little bit of respect and a little bit of a time that they can spend these kids with them. But apart from this, like they just want a gratitude. Unless and until there are two things. If they are financially taking care of the children of adolescent, then yes, their expectations may become like parents. But otherwise, I mean, grandparents are still, as already being discussed. Coming on to the parents, see, the expectations start from the beginning. Mera bacha khata nahi hai. Every pediatrician will have this thing. So what does it mean? They want their child to eat more as per their need. Now, intention is not bad, but the method is somehow they're not able to accept, see the children's needs. As the child grows, they want to, because life is becoming a bit stressful, their financial needs, they both have to work. Now they give their parents gadgets. Okay, they give it, but then they will say कि उतना ही करना है जितना मैं चाहता हूँ. Somehow it's a kind of, controlling their kids. It's a kind of putting a, क्या कहते हैं, उनकी जो independence है उसके ऊपर, it's a sort of rope लगाने की barrier. Yes, exactly. So they want to put that. I just give example of my friend, like her son, he wants to be a doctor. So he said, okay, NEET mein jana hai, and he is preparing for that. But at the same time, every time his discussion with me is, see, we are putting so much of money. We are doing this coaching, that coaching, so much of money. So this child should clear the NEET. So somehow their expectations, I would say, I don't know, it is to save myself to have it a justification or not, but I try to make her understand, see, you are doing your best, let your child do best. Whatever happens, that the result which we have to accept it. But somehow she's, madam, lagta to hai na ki itna paisa laga rahe hain, ye bachcha padhta nahi hai. So basically it is, one is the academic, they want to excel, they want their child to take every responsibility, choti choti. बच्चे को like they won't teach them taking care of small things, but when suddenly they grow up, they expect them to do everything for them also. So it's at certain points, it may or may not be kind of a right to, having that expectations. But having said that, at certain points, I find the kids also take advantage of this condition. Like, for example, if the example is like my niece was, my cousin's daughter was there once. So her mother told her, okay, chai bana ke lana zara. So she was like, my brother is also sitting, madam, mama, ye to gender bias hai. So somehow kids are also becoming manipulative, that they uses things also, the parents, they want advices and all that for their own use. So I will leave this justification part to every individual and every family. But personally, I feel that taking care with unconditional love, of course, a little bit of expectations, but try to learn or to make it justified or a realistic one is definitely every parent need to learn about it. Thank you.
तो हमें ये पता ही नहीं चलता है कि कब ये हमारा पेरेंटल प्रेशर बन जाता है.
हाँ, yes, exactly.
जहाँ मतलब बैरियर्स लगाने आपने शुरू कर दिए, तो that becomes a parental pressure. So very confusing here how to how to realize that we are not pressurizing now. Where should we create that line? We'll ask that Dr. Om Sai about it. So Dr. Om Sai, are you there? Hello, Dr. Om Sai, sir.
Yeah, I'm there, madam. Very good morning.
Yes. Good morning, sir. Welcome. Sir, yeah, very thankful. सबसे पहले तो सब thank you. You are in such a village where the connectivity is not there, and still you are able to. So that is great about India. So we are connecting in remote villages as well.
Yeah, I'm thankful that I could join this meeting. In fact,
Sir, here we will ask you where should the parents parents come under that parental pressure on the children. So where should the parent realize that बड़ा मुश्किल है पेरेंट्स के लिए ये समझना कि अब मैं प्रेशर तो नहीं डाल रहा हूँ, वहाँ पे उसको समझ में नहीं आती है बात, तो वो कहाँ पे, वो लाइन कहाँ पर?
It's a very practical question which you are asking. At the outset, I would like to thank Dr. Chandan and other organizers for having me. In fact, I should congratulate the entire team for taking up this wonderful topic, because I'm of the opinion that we should spend more time and energy on talking about adolescents and their health aspects, and then how they can make good living, and then how they can contribute, so that we can definitely prevent a lot of psychological problems which we may come across later in their life. Having said that, I would like to try. I'll make an attempt to answer your question, madam. How to how to draw a line. That's what the question was asked. Yes. It's like this. Probably we can keep these things in mind. Like grandparents were parents sometime back, right? So they should recollect their role as parents and their difficulties as parents. Now the parents should realize that they were children sometime back. So they should recollect their difficulties as children. So if we can at least go back to our own, memories, then periods, and then try to be realistic in our expectations, I think most of the things can be solved. That is one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that quite many people have very well said about this, that the parenting classification of parenting styles is not that we are having this particular category of parents with this category of parenting styles, another group of parents with another category of parenting. No, it's a construct which is basically emerging out of the interaction between the nature and nurture, which results in temperament in children and personality in parents. So therefore we'll have to appreciate that this is a sort of a continuum, so that some of us would be using some of these constructs based on the requirements, based on the situations. So let us not have that opinion that we can classify the parents into the categories. No, I don't think we can. Everybody should be using all kinds of parenting styles, based on the requirements in the situation given. This is what the point very well made in the earlier speakers presentations also. So another important thing is that it is always important that the parents and grandparents when they are taking care of the children, they are parenting together. That's what the point to be noted here. So they should be having a sort of a discussion, and it's also responsibility distribution, and they should also be given some importance to their roles and their strengths, and they should also be realizing their limitations. So if we can help the parents and grandparents to gel well with the child, and then child and also another important thing of how we can draw a line is
Dr. Samir, please mute yourself.
how we can draw a line is that we should get updated with our what's happening. You can't be lagging behind, and then you can't say that why don't you write a letter. These things are outdated nowadays, so you may have to go with the what's happening currently. You have to update yourself, and then you have to go to their level rather than expecting them to come to your level. I think if we can do these things, I think we will be able to gel well with the children.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for making that clear. So this is a very important question, Dr. Harish, for you.
Exactly.
Midlife crisis. Parents of adolescents are sandwiched between grandparents and adolescents. They are also struggling with their midlife. So how to cope about it?
Thank you, madam. It's a very difficult type of question to answer.
Dr. Omkari will help you.
Yeah, maybe I will try to answer this thing. Actually, I would see this as kind of a power struggle at home.
Yes.
Right? That who decides at home, and the grandparents, they find it very, very difficult to forget that they think that they are still in the driving force. They are head of the family, and they should be asked for everything, especially things related to the children and other important aspects in the family. The parents of the child think that now they are in their driving force. They are earning members. It is their family. So this is a power struggle between the two somehow. And children, of course, children are at the receiving end. So how to deal with it and how to support for the best interest of the child as a service provider or as a doctor. I think best is to tell them that they must talk about the issues. We should empower the parents and grandparents so that they can discuss whatever issues are coming. They should try to find out the root cause of the differences between parents and the grandparents. And whenever they try to find out the root cause, and whenever they try to find out the solution, they should keep the best interest of the child in the center. So if we can provide these subtle messages and empower them to talk and discuss about the things and take an appropriate decision, I think this should be the role of clinicians. Because as a clinician, you can't decide for a particular family. You can't make decisions for them. So that is how the counseling is required. That is how the counseling should be done. Dr. Omsai can add to it.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for giving this wonderful idea. I would like to add what sir has said, in fact, about a model which I have always used in my clinical practice. So I'm sure it will help. I name it as a family meeting. What is the concept is that I ask the parents, grandparents, and children to have a meeting of, let's say, around 20 minutes to half an hour every fortnight. I will say that it should be happening on a Sunday morning around 11 o'clock. Generally, most of the people will get up late, so 11 o'clock would be the ideal. So they should start, asking each person in that family. In the sense, let us say around 6 people are sitting there: 2 grandparents, 2 parents, and 2 children. Now, I ask them to take a pen and paper, give to everybody one paper and pen, and they should write down what they want to discuss in that particular meeting about their selves, about their problems, and ask their others' opinion as well as guidance. So I will tell these things to be done in the family. I name it as family meeting. So father will tell. So in the last week in my office, I had this boss who came from another center creating problems. I do not know how to deal with this. I am stressful. So the child can give some suggestion, grandfather can give some suggestion, wife can give some suggestions. Likewise, it is a turn of the grandparent. Grandparent will say that I went to the bank, but the my pension has not been deposited this month. So how I don't know how to deal with this. So adolescents generally will have very good technology based answers for some of the questions. So they may give, okay, Papa, I can do it. Grandpa, I will do it online. Don't worry, just give me the details of accounts. So I'll check whether it has come or not. This kind of interaction between them will help them to put forward their own problems. Now the boy also should be asked. The boy will say, yeah, I went for a tour with my colleagues where there were some boys and girls. I had an awkward situation when something happened to one girl. I really don't know how to deal with such kind of situations. So the grandparents and parents will give some ideas. In that particular situation, if I were there, I would have dealt like this. This is the best method of telling and teaching the adolescents. This is the best model I have seen which works in such scenario. And the second model I would like to tell you, madam, which you are asking, like how the midlife crisis needs to be handled, is that identify the strengths and weaknesses in both the groups, three groups in fact: grandparents, parents, and children. I generally ask the parents to give the small responsibilities to the adolescents. For example, I'll ask the parents to involve the adolescent in healthcare needs of the grandparents, like दवाई देना 2 बार, या नहीं तो हॉस्पिटल को लेकर जाने के लिए हाथ पकड़ के लेकर जाना, या नहीं तो CGHS का कार्ड एंट्री कैसे करना. These are the things with which you can try to develop a very good construct between them, so that they will be together on the same page. Another important thing is that I also tell them that as you celebrate children's birthdays more often, I also tell them that at least once in a while, or most of the times at least, you should also plan to celebrate grandparents' birthdays also. In the sense, you don't have to make a big hangama, or you don't have to big scale में करने की जरूरत नहीं, but लेकिन you should make it a point that you do celebrate grandparents' birthdays also along with the children, so that helps them to have the understanding the importance of the such kind of things can be done. And another important thing, very practical tip which I can tell you how to combat with this kind of the midlife crisis is, make it a point that you ask for the choices of the grandparents as well as grandchildren. We have been talking about positive parenting, good house responsibilities, etc., and children should be given the models, etc. I am asking you, the parent should should try to be a good parent as well as good child, I mean to say. So if you can make such kind of balance, probably most of the issues can be solved.
Yes. Sir, I have been with my grandparents all through my life. And I have also been with my in-laws all through my life.
Great,
33
great.
years of my marriage. And I have seen grandparents of mine and as well as the grandparents of my children. So this is very, very important to give respect to your parents. Then they will respect us. You have to be a role model for your children. Then only when I saw my father, doing much things for his parents, then only I learned I have to do the same to my friends. If you start scolding mother or father, the child is also learning to scold you when you are at that age. ये बचपन से हमें सिखाया जाता है कि जैसे भी आप अपने माँ बाप से व्यवहार करोगे, आपके बच्चे सीख रहे हैं, वो बच्चे भी आप सीखेंगे कि आपके साथ कैसा व्यवहार करना. ये तो पहली बात. दूसरा, try to be a role model yourself, like Dr. Piali said, कि मोबाइल हाथ में रखा हुआ है और दूसरे को बोल रहे बच्चे को तुम मत करो कुछ भी, या सिगरेट पी रहे हैं दूसरे बच्चे को बोल रहे हैं सिगरेट मत पियो, then the child will never agree with the teachers. जब फादर कर रहे हैं तो that must be a good thing, मैं भी करूंगा. So these days we see so many parents having a drink with their children. Then they should not mind that when their adolescents also drink. and goes into. So you have to be disciplined yourself to start discipline in your child, or similarly, discipline with your parents, so that the children are also watching you. They will do whatever you have been doing.
One important thing I can add here, madam. I mean, if you permit. So there was a conflict in my own family. My mother was around 58, 59 when we had children, and then my two children. I have two daughters. They were around like around 7 years and 5 years kind of age group. And whenever they used to come home, my mother used to watch the South Indian serials in TV. So and the kids used to come and sit in front of the TV most of the time. So this was a conflict. How to resolve this? So what after a lot of discussion, what we came out with, the solution was that my mother was not very well educated, so she was not able to. I mean, she was not knowing how to understand these things. So in her own language and children's language, we came out with some solution. The solution was we gave one. We taught my mother how to use laptop and watch those serials online rather than watching in the TV in the
so
main.
You
and
empowered.
It solved all the problems. She was sitting in a bedroom and then she was watching, and the kids were having their own study time. So this kind of techniques, if we can use,
think out of the box for the solution. Yeah. Yes. And very good tip you gave, that involve everyone in family discussion. Here I take 2 points. One is that we should teach them gratitude for everything that they do, and involve them in household, whatever you are doing at home. Like mother can tell the daughter or her son to go to the kitchen and help her there. You have to, इनकी energy को आपको थोड़ा सा way out देना है. Sir, one parent had this problem that मेरा बच्चा time पे सोता नहीं है. जैसे हम लोग सोते हैं, तो then he goes and then he watches mobile, or he will go for some technological gadget and all. So how to discipline that child?
Yeah, it's a very universal kind of problem nowadays we are facing. The behavioral addictions are emerging like a major issues, madam. And this is because of the many reasons. We have technology, and we have the competition. We have a lot of demands and expectations from the care, the academic expectations, peer expectations, parent expectations, neighborhood expectations. There are so many things which will make the child and adolescent to be in such kind of situation. And their circadian rhythm is exactly ulta ho gaya abhi aajkal. They try to sit in overnight and then read, and
they don't listen to the parents. If parents tell them, suddenly they are not able to cope up. And
so the best is that you maintain consistency in your approach. Yes. And see to that you maintain persistency in a sense, like what you say. I mean, what a mother says should be same as what father says. What father says should be same of what grandmother says. If you can maintain this kind of consistency amongst yourself, probably it will have better results. And second thing is that you should also, like a parent tha, and parent was having alcoholism as well as smoking as his habits, and almost he was having alcohol dependent syndrome. And they brought the adolescents for the behavioral addiction with alcohol use sometime. So what I did was that I made the family meeting took place, and then it took place in our own clinic, in fact, but as I requested, and we proposed to talk about these things. See, if the father can recognize that he is setting a wrong environment, wrong model, and he cannot be a good example, he cannot even expect the child to be a good person. So he cannot ask the child not to smoke when he is smoking. So these kind of things, if we can make them understand, probably they can be better.
Perfect. So we again go to Dr. Sunita. Can psychological issues of grandparents affect the family?
Definitely. I mean, not even the grandparents, I would say parents and children, everyone's what they are going through in their mind is definitely going to affect. But just a kind of for a better understanding, Like, for example, when an individual is in the age of 20 to 40 years, so it is a kind of an independent adult life. Their main priority is career and marriage, etc. Mainly financial and marital relationships. When they come to 40 to 60 years, which is called as a middle adulthood, again, there comes responsibilities, but at the same time, few of us, and of course, many of us achieve a stability also. So that kind of a thing that now they will be involved in society works, give a kind of a birth, or the still responsibilities are there. So it's a like a need to live also. And when it comes to the late adulthood, like when it is around 60s and all that, at that point of time, two things happens. Like adults, their own children, now they have growing up children. So children are also going away from these grandparents, and the adolescents whom as a child probably they might have taken care of, they are also going away from them. So that affects them, a kind of a giving them a feeling of loneliness or question mark on their self-worth, or whether we are needed or not, या हम सिर्फ यहाँ पर इनके ऊपर burden हो रहे हैं. That kind of a feeling they go through, especially a stage of the life they have gone through when they have a full control, full authority on the house, and now they are at the back seat. Definitely it affects them. Few of the grandparents affects easily, and they take a back seat and be a supervisor. Maybe it is their understanding. That is one. And secondly, another important factor, what happens is, like, even if they want to compensate this kind of a loneliness or a, self motivation kind of a feeling by mobilizing in their physical health comes into, in between. Now they have problems with the vision, problem with the hearing, problem with the tooth, eating, joint pains, that their social mobility is also less. And even in house also, if they have a hearing problem, like my mother is having, she is like, "Arey, ab mere ko sunai nahi deta, to wo kam sunai deta." Even if the hearing aids, she's not able to still, cope up. So what happens is कि वो थोड़ा-थोड़ा बात करना कम कर देते हैं. So the time when they need कि somebody should be there, they should talk more, at least. So they automatically going into a vicious cycle of mental health. But at this point of time, the important thing is, if they have a better understanding and of course a supportive environment, things go one way in a right direction. Sometimes they go into spirituality. That is again quite a lot of help for these, grandparents to cope up with their psychological issue. And third, nowadays, like we have also seen, grandparents are going into mobile, impulsive forwarding the messages, which I don't know, maybe Dr. Sai sir or you can speak about where they are going, which is difficult for me also to, can comment on that. But yes, problems are there, but with a positive attitude, if we try to handle, they are manageable. That's the, point I would say. Thank you.
Yes. Psychological issues of grandparents can be, they go into that aggressive behavior. Maybe they are having some sort of organic problem which clinicians have to, diagnose. घर में लगता है कि ये गुस्सा करते हैं, हो सकता है उनको कोई सच में प्रॉब्लम हो. So to seek help should not be deterrent. The parents should understand maybe their parents are having some sort of psychological issues which they take as normal and aggressive behavior. Maybe they are having some issues, they need a psychological help. They should go to that. ये एक बहुत बड़ा taboo है.
One thing, as you said, aggressiveness. In this aggressiveness, they come into a rejection. पूरी family को reject कर देते हैं, हम अकेले रहेंगे. तो वो भी एक बड़ा फैक्टर.
एक प्रॉब्लम होती है, उनको वहां पे एक हेल्प चाहिए होता है, बट प्रोबेबली पेरेंट्स थिंक दैट ये तो खटिया गए हैं, ये तो गए, ये तो गुस्सा ही करते रहते हैं, बट प्रोबेबली दे नीड हेल्प एंड इट विल बी बेटर फॉर देम टू गेट देम ट्रीटेड फॉर देयर ग्रैंडचिल्ड्रन.
एंड मे बी हेल्प देम अंडरस्टैंड आल्सो कि लेटर ऑन लाइफ में स्टेज तो हमारी भी आनी है.
हाँ, यस. जैसे एक और चीज है कि जो इतना अच्छा रिलेशनशिप होता है ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स को अपने ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन के साथ, कि मेरी मदर इन लॉ कहा करती थी, ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन आर एंटी डिप्रेसेंट. मेरा सारा दुख खत्म हो जाता है जब मैं इनके साथ बात करती हूँ.
बिल्कुल.
तो कितना अच्छा रिश्ता है आपस में, ये समझना चाहिए. एंड समटाइम्स दे वांट थिंग्स टू बी डन अकॉर्डिंग टू देयर बिलीफ. We should also believe in them, but slowly we can make them understand that you have to change. That psychological support has to be given to them. Sometimes they have ill health, like Dr. Om Sai said, that involve children in their treatment. That is very wonderful. I have done it myself. You know, my daughter used to give medicines to my mother-in-law. So she used to feel very happy कि मुझे याद दिलाती है मेरे
yeah, small things make a
and
difference.
Yes, they might have conflicts with their children, which need to be sorted out by the parents. They also can become, actually grandparents and parents should become bridges. They should not become barriers. Not able to adjust with modern life. Sometimes the grandparents cannot adjust with the modern life. So technology has to be rightly used. Like Dr. Om Sai said that he gave laptop to his mother. So it may take time, but things will be better. The results will be very good. Sometimes there are very strict family rules. Yes.
I would like to mention, I mean, add here, madam. Actually, my mother, after 2-3 months of this resolution, she gave very good analogy of this, and then she told me, I'm very happy to share these things with you guys. She told me that now I can watch this particular serial whenever I want. I don't have to, depend on
time schedules not to be there.
Number one. Number two, she said that, I don't have to watch the entire ad. I can skip here. There is a very good option of skipping the ad here. So she was very excited to watch only in the laptop through the internet rather than. And then ultimately, my daughter, who used to complain, Papa, I am not able to enjoy these South Indian serials along with my grandma. What should I do? I mean, I'm not able to focus. So she was very happily. She told me that you better remove the TV from that hall itself. I am very happy. This kind of betterments will take place if you keep trying these
things. Out of box, yeah. And strict family rules. So here I would like your so how strict should be the family rules?
Yeah, so it has to be a balanced way, as we have been talking since for the past 1.5 hours. The challenge of parenting is to be a balanced. बीच का रास्ता लेना है. आप कभी ज्यादा प्यार भी दिखाना नहीं चाहिए और ज्यादा डांटना भी नहीं चाहिए, ज्यादा ठोकना भी नहीं चाहिए. जब आप करेगा तो it should be at a particular level. आप अगर if you can place that particular bar at a particular level very successfully in a balanced way, that's all. You are a wonderful parent, and your job as parenting is done. So the challenge is where to draw this line and where to put this particular bar. So that is not very fixed. It is not that everything doesn't fit to everybody. We all know that. So based on the family requirements, family temperaments, children's temperament. Ajkal, Dr. Pimde sahab will accept if I say that in our adolescent clinic as well as in our child psychiatric clinic, we see most of the children are brought with the hyperactivity, temperamental issues. Their mood is very much dysregulated. These are common these days. So therefore, we have to deal with these things accordingly. So therefore, I say that if it is an adolescent, they understand better than you can understand, better than I can understand. So what I use, what I always do is that talk them with respect. Give them the space, give them the privacy, ask them to put their point forward first rather than you keep on giving bhashan to them. This is what I do. I make the adolescent to sit in front of me first, and then beta aap batao mummy aapko क्यों लेकर आया, या नहीं तो आपको और ग्रैंडफादर के बीच में क्या चल रहा है, आप बताओ पहले, उसके बाद मैं ग्रैंडफादर को बुलाऊंगा या नहीं तो फादर को बुलाऊंगा. This way of dealing with them will make them that they are there with you, and they will open up very easily, and they will take whatever the suggestions you take. And with grandparents, madam, actually we should use some of the medical models. They will be able to understand better.
Then we will go to Dr. Piali for that, and Dr. Piali will tell us tips to grandparenting to improve adolescent behavior.
So, Chandan, after hearing everybody, I just need to say one thing. This is so special to have grandparents. Today we do not have roots. So I remember a saying that the Dalai Lama said that give them wings to fly, but roots to come back to. So grandparents, I believe, are the roots. They are the rooting, which is so important to these children, So the tips to grandparents would be have a lot of patience and give unconditional love to these adolescents. But remember, unconditional love does not mean that you enter into conflict with the parents. If they have disciplined in some way, you can actually be on the same page with the parents. They can come and cry to you, but do not promote indiscipline by being too much of unconditional in your love. So there are certain things that you need to do, like you are a family historian, you are a custodian of the family history, you are a mentor, you are a listener. So give them a patient ear, give them unconditional love, tell them stories, divert their attention from the confrontation to something else. Tell them stories which they actually, I remember talking to my children, I had a radio, this thing on how stories affect adolescents, childhood stories. So I asked my children and they said, Mama, those stories actually shaped our lives. So that grandparenting and Dada Dadi ki kahaniya, we have even books, the bag of grandma's stories. So be a bridge between the adolescent and the parents. Wipe their tears, help them overcome failures, and be a little detached, you know. You have a willingness to listen, but your presence is there also. So be a friend, philosopher, guide to the adolescent. Moreover, be clear that you are not giving too much of cash to them. Many a times I've asked ki junk food kahan se khaya bacha, and I have heard that grandparents ne paisa diya tha. So remember that do not give too much of cash to them. So then you will be actually not a bringer of good things, but you will actually spoil them in future, their health, their spirituality. You need to promote that part also. So do not give them easy cash, okay? And avoid any kind of confrontation with their parents in front of them. So these are small things that I would ask all the grandparents to be careful about. Because if you praise them too much, you know, aapse acha to koi hai hi nahi. The after effect will be that they will not be able to come to terms with any failure. Kyunki humse acha koi nahi, hum to fail ho hi nahi sakte. And then we have those adolescent suicides, adolescent injuries in mind. Accept the limitations. You can't do everything. You're not a parent, you are a grandparent. So I said, practice a little detachment. Let the parents do their job, you do your job. And you have to understand that you need to update also. When the child comes to you and he says, Ma, I want to see Oppenheimer, you should know actually what is Oppenheimer. So if you don't know that, you will not be on the same page with the adolescent. And he'll say, isko to kuch aata hi nahi hai, rehne do yaar. So keep updated. That's a very big thing for the grandparent, but yes, that's a must as well.
Dr. Premlata, thank you, Dr. Pyali. Dr. Premlata, how much of a vigil should parents keep on an adolescent? I think we have discussed this, and that helicopter parenting which Dr. Pyali was telling, वो हमें कैसे पता चले parent को कि हम कर रहे हैं? Dr. Premlata, are you there? Is she there? You can take that, Dr. Pyali.
I'm not, now I have unmuted, got stuck. Yes, this is for parents. However much you trust your children, it is very important, especially to maintain vigil on the children's performance and what they are up to in today's technological world. So as Dr. Pyali was saying, grandparents have to be updated. Parents also have to be a lot updated on technology and know where the children are going. So they, especially where when they they have to get advice on cyber safety and talk to them, give them anticipatory guidance about sexuality, about behavior and relationships. I think parents should spend a lot of time rather than just wait for schools and workshops to do this. And as pediatricians, it is our duty also to ensure that we guide the parents during the well baby visits and during the immunization visits so that the parents are taking this and doing anticipatory guidance at home. Also, I'd like to add that grandparents have a much bigger role to play in this keeping vigil, because parents can sometimes be very distracted with their day-to-day problems and their issues. And grandparents, if they are staying together, can, without unobtrusively, that's the word, to keep watch on what is happening in the grandchild's life. Thank you.
Yes. So we have to be friends with them, but you are not their friend. This is a very important line. You know, be friendly, but you are a parent. You are not a friend. They shouldn't think that then they take advantage of that. So there should be a line created there. So parents and grandparents are parents and grandparents. They are not their friends. This is very important. So we go to the next, Dr. Harish. How to inculcate discipline of your adolescent? What is the role of parents and grandparents to inculcate discipline at home?
Madam, this is the whole essence of parenting, inculcating the discipline. And it is the discipline which parents have learned during their childhood, they also carry, but they can learn how to remain disciplined and how to instill the discipline in the children. Of course, they must make very clear family rules. That family rules should be for everyone. It is not possible that they make some rules for children alone. Everyone has to follow these family rules. And of course, authoritative parenting style is definitely the best. And we can teach what is the meaning of authoritative parenting style. And everyone in the family should take the rules seriously. This punishment is very, very important part in disciplining. So punishment should be according to the crime which has been committed by the children. It should be instant, but it should not be out of proportion to the irregularity committed by them. And it is the punishment which promotes one kind of behavior. So children, the parents have to learn how to punish their children. And being role model, this has been emphasized again and again. And we must be very well aware of the personality of the child and capability of adolescent and children. And we must support whatever capacity they have. And of course, we must accept the limitations. So we should help the children out to grow out of the limitation, but we should promote whatever capacities they have. And of course, we should not put them to shame. This is an art, how to punish and how to explain the thing without insulting the child, whether they are alone with you or whether they are in front of the friend and the children and the grandparents. This is a very, very important learning for every one of us and for the parent also. And yes, educate ourselves about adolescent development. This is also a duty of a clinician to tell them that why this kind of a behavior can be normal for this child. Child not interacting frequently with the parents can also be normal. They want to remain inside their room can also be normal at times. So this telling the parents what is normal and what is expected during adolescence can remove lots of anxieties of the parents. These are very, very important things to discuss whenever parents come with the problems. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. This last line of educating yourself about adolescent development is very important, and this goes to the next slide. Dr. Pyali, this is the most important aspect of adolescent behavior. When I was trained for adolescent behavior, I had no idea about it. And as a parent, when I retrospectively go to my years as parent, I think I have totally failed because I didn't know what adolescent brain was like. Maybe my attitude towards my children would have been something very different. So, Dr. Pyali, tell us what are the changes adolescent brain which parents and grandparents have to understand?
So, Chandan, we think that the adolescent period is a golden period, no responsibilities, nothing there, khali maze hi maze hain. But is it actually so? It is actually when the MRIs started coming in that we got to understand that the brain development is not complete in the adolescent. In saying that, I would like to impress upon all that it is a continuous process. The brain has plasticity when in the adolescent period. So what is happening is that circuits are being made, circuits are being pruned, and it is like use it or lose it sort of. So whatever habits you will set in the child in the early period, the child will learn that. And if he learns to use only the mobile and PUBG and things of that kind, those circuits will become stronger. So as I said, it is a principle of use it or lose it. Moreover, what happens is that the brain is actually from behind, it is maturing to the front. And in that process, when it comes to the middle, the limbic system lies there. And the limbic system is the seat of emotionalism, of reward. So what happens is the frontal cortex, which should actually control every decision, every wisdom that is being the action of the adolescent, that part, the cortex frontal cortex has not yet matured, and the limbic system has matured already and is governing the adolescent in his actions. So he will be emotional, he will be risk-taking, he will explore, he will understand rewards. But this is like a vehicle without a brake, because the brake system, the frontal cortex, has not yet matured, and the child will not be able to put the brakes. That is why आदमी का बच्चा आदमी के साथ adolescent पार करने तक रहता है, because he has to have the guidance of the parents and the grandparents. So that is where we are actually telling him, well, how much is right, how much is wrong, what is to be done, what is not to be done, and be the parent or the grandparent when the child comes to you whenever there is a controversy in his mind. Not only that, he is so taken up with his body changes that the body image is something he's very, very concerned about. So if he's concerned about, again, there is a cerebral factor in that, and the child is very concerned. So that is the point where you will have to actually support the child also. So this is where he is going and finding his own identity. Who am I? What am I? What have I come here to do? What is my job? So that maturity is coming. We need to support the child in that maturity. So the children who are spiritual, who are connected to their families, are much more adapted to these changes. So the adolescent behavior is much stable. However, since many of these, in fact, I must say, of the psychological behaviors, they present before the age of 14 or 14ish in adolescent, we have to be on the lookout for mental illnesses as well. So we cannot say that these normal behaviors are actually mental illnesses, but we need to keep a keen eye, because this is the stage where we can catch them early and treat them early in case there is a mental illness.
So, Dr. Swati Ghate, hello. Thank you, Dr. Pyali. So, how do you manage a difficult adolescent or aggressive behavior, both as a parent, as a grandparent? Difficult adolescent is very difficult.
Yes. So first and foremost is, now Madam has told us all about the neurodevelopment. So when the child is angry or aggressive or whatever atypical behavior he is showing, first we have to go back to it and understand that yes, this is the growing phase, and the individual is high on emotionality, and the thinking brain is not yet developed, and he will behave little bit erratically, and the behavior will not be like an adult. So most of the parents and grandparents, because their body sizes have grown up, they expect that the child would behave like an adult. So there, I think the first that concept has to be made very clear, that yes, there is something which would be a little different from your expectations. So when the child is angry, for example, we must know whether this anger is non-normative anger, because sometimes any adolescent would be angry because anger is the most important protective emotion, and because our ancestors were angry with their enemies and they could get over the enemies, that's why we are surviving. So as the adolescent is going into an individual survival away from his parents, he would be high on anger, which is his safety device. So most of the adolescents will show some anger. But when it is a non-normative anger, it is the anger which involves a lot of yelling, throwing things, banging, and the behavior which is not socially acceptable, or it is too intense for the trigger, or probably it involves damaging the properties, or some criminal activities, something like that. If it is happening, or if it is happening too very often, then yes, we have to look into the matter very seriously. We do have to teach them how to handle the emotion, because anger is an emotion and aggression is the behavior coming out of that emotion. So we have to first validate that yes, it is okay for you to get angry, even if we do not find it justifiable. So we could first validate the feeling, and then we have to teach them how to control the anger. There are many tips for anger control. Also, the very famous sober approach, which says that yes, there is a gap of some 6 seconds between the trigger and the behavior. So we have to, during that gap, we have to use that gap to modify our behavior. First, take deep breaths, give a rethought to what you were going through, and then rather than reacting, respond to the situation. Also, the parents and grandparents have to keep themselves calm when the child is very angry. So they should not enter into a hot discussion, because right now the child is not able to understand anything, and he will not be able to follow what you're saying. So first and foremost is, you have, and many times grandparents especially, they have to protect themselves also. If the anger and aggression is going too much out of bound, there are chances that
he might be injured.
Yes, he might become aggressive. So they have to protect themselves. So yes, modeling themselves by keeping quiet, and when they land into something which is not agreeable to them, how did they respond to it? How did they handle the situation? All these things could be taught to the children. Of course, we are talking so much about the life skills that they need to inculcate life skills in them. And one of the important thing is, many times the children are hungry, or they are anxious, or they are going through some different emotion, but it comes out as an anger. So that also parents and grandparents might probe into what exactly is disturbing. Many issues are there which are troubling the teens and manifested as anger outbursts. So these are some of the things.
With the last part is that they have to take help of psychologists and psychiatrists. Dr.
Yes.
Omsai, are you there, sir? Sir, I would like to ask you about, when should a parent or a grandparent ask for a help for the adolescent?
Yeah, it's a wonderful question. In fact, Madam Dr. Swati Madam very nicely explained how we can deal with aggression and anger in adolescents. But one thing which you asked is that, when to take psychological help or psychiatric help. There can be 2-3 things which we can keep in mind. Point number one is that if there is any sudden change in the behavior, you need to be careful. Like, for example, the child was talking very nicely and he has reduced speaking, or he has stopped speaking, or eating, sleeping. Any change which is sudden in the recent onset, you have to be careful, number one. Number two is that, if there is an impact on the socio-occupational deterioration, that means the child is not going to the school, child is not getting the marks, the academic decline is there, etc. You have to be taken, you should be taken seriously. Third important thing is that biological symptoms are affected. Child is not able to sleeping well, child is not able to eating well, child is not able to taking care of self. The self-care is gone down. And it is a significant deviation from his the self, then you have to be careful. And fourth important thing is that if child is getting into substance or getting into some sort of suicidal thoughts, you have to approach the psychologist as well as or psychiatrist. These are the 4-5 important things which everybody should be keeping in mind. And the moment you find these things in adolescent, you have to raise the alarm. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, thank you,
Dr. Chandan,
yes,
Chandan,
yes.
can I add to it?
Yes, sir. Yes, I was coming to you for the life skill workshops also.
No, not for the life skill workshop that we all have to learn it, but for indicators for getting psychological help or a doctor's help. Whenever parents feel stressed of parenting, they feel the child is not listening to them, it is affecting their own life. That is also a time they should take psychological help. The child may be absolutely normal, but they are not able to adjust with the adolescent's development. That is also one of more indication they should come to us. Dr. Omsai will agree with you.
Yes, sir. Definitely, sir.
Sir, and how important are life skills, sir, at this stage?
See, life skill workshop have been started few years ago by Aacci and many by Aacci also. And these life skill workshops are really very, very important. We all learn life skills by experience, but we know that these skills can be taught also. So children, they should learn life skills. The parents also should be able to teach the life skills to their children. And whenever some opportunities are there for learning life skills, it should not be forgotten. They should use it. And I think in schools and otherwise also, they should be available. And we should promote people, parents, the new parents and children, adolescent children also to attend these life skill workshops. They are very, very important and useful.
Thank you, sir. So this all has been. The next question is to you only. How do we improve the relation between parents and grandparents for better personality development of adolescents at home?
I think it is the same question.
Same question, yeah.
Similar question, because whatever the purpose of parenting is useful development of the child. Child becomes a useful citizen of the country, self-sufficient person. And this growth and development is included in all these things. And parents and grandparents, they aim for this thing only. So yes.
So I wanted to emphasize two points here. Give a reward for doing something good. And we should also teach our adolescents and children to learn how to apologize and to say sorry.
I think you have shown very good tips for the parents to understand and learn about. Can you go back to the previous slide, please?
Yeah.
So yes, this is important to accept your wrongs and say sorry, be on the same page when it comes to inculcate good behavior. We have to demonstrate what the good behavior is. And of course, we should not confront each other in front of the adolescent, that is between the mother and the father. And we should always praise whatever small achievement the children get, whatever small achievement any family member gets. Of course, a reward is very, very important. Rather, reward is more important than punishments. A child should also learn how to apologize. They will follow you actually. If the parents can apologize, children will also learn how to apologize. Thank you.
Yes. So we go to the next question. Dr. Premlata, what were your challenges to deal with your adolescent grandchildren? You have, the grown-ups now, teenagers. Please unmute yourself.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Chandan. I have 2 adolescent grandsons and I have a pre-adolescent granddaughter and a toddler. So the entire range. And challenges, I have not had many challenges because this is really long distance parenting across the 7 seas. I've used this same thing that Dr. Swati said, kept a mutual respect and kept my distance, always being available to my children. My daughter and my daughter-in-law both feel free to come and talk or call me whenever they feel stressed or they think they need a little advice. So I advise only when asked. And I've tried to, my grandchildren, as long as they were smaller, now the adolescent grandchildren, I have to find ways to connect with them. So when we are stuck with how to set your Apple Watch or how to make some correction, how to set, they are always ever ready. And that is the only time you can see the excitement and the way they communicate with us. So, but the bottom line is that if you have a culture of conversation and mutual respect, especially the respect that we show the parents, and I think the children learn the same thing and they will absorb it anyway, subconsciously as they go along.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And thanks for joining. Dr. Swati Ghate, I would like to know, how do you discuss sex-related, like sexual behavior, risk-related sexual behavior within adolescents, role of a parent and a grandparent? And this question goes to Dr. Om Sai also later on, and Dr. Swati Bhave if she's there.
Okay.
For the expert comment. Yeah.
So this is a very important question. And see, sexual behavior you have said here. So sexual behavior is a very big term. So anything related to the sexuality, and sexuality in itself is a such a big part of a, yes, it is a very big construct. So it could be an online sexual behavior or an offline sexual behavior. So it starts from very young age. I think from the toddlerhood, that we have to make an environment at the in the family which is wherein talking about sex, sexual organs and all is very, very open. So when the toddlers are like taught not to touch their private parts, or they are ashamed of touching their private parts, or coming out in the drawing room without wearing their undergarments, we make fun of them, or we make them feel that this is something bad, and then they inculcate some bad ideas about the sexual organs. So rather than saying that like shame and all, we could just tell them that these are very, very important parts and very delicate too. So we would like you to wear your underpants and then come out. So something like that, which is very, very scientific and which makes them feel good about their organs, should start as young as probably 1.5 to 2 years, when they start identifying body parts. We should also make them understand the body parts and like touch them, or the way they want to handle them. It's okay if they want to handle them. All these things should start from there. Coming to adolescents, the adolescents are full of sort of curiosity about their own growing body and about their sexuality development that is happening in their psyche. So we have to use all the teachable moments, teach them about good touch, bad touch. And also, like, most of the schools are teaching all these things these days, the signal thing and all. About sex, the act of sex, they are very, very keen to know. And this is a biology teacher was telling me recently that there were some children who were like, after her, they wanted to know. There were 6th standard students, and they were like, she got stuck. How can I tell them what it is exactly? So unfortunately, we do not have many good material or reading material easily available. Sites are very few. So for her, I just wrote a few points and told that, so when we talk with them, we should tell them that this is nature's greatest gift. It has designed for procreation and continuation of species, and hence nature wants it to be pleasurable to both the partners. And so anything that is not pleasurable to you or is embarrassing to you, it is not good. So it is also used to express your love and and it is like something which should be a serene thing, a divine thing. So this is how we could make their sexual behavior fall in the domain of safety. Then regarding the consent, and if they are like, we have to tell them of the law, that before 18 years of age in India, indulging into any kind of sexual behavior is,
even if it is consent,
and we have to tell them the consequences. And at the same time, we don't have to force our views and our values and ethics on them. This is all about grooming. Also, we have to tell them, as we talk about the good touch and bad touch, that there could be some people who are very well known to you, could make you feel very special, and then they could make use of you for deriving their own pleasures. Dating violence is something which we have to tell them about. Sexual abuse during dating, substance abuse, and followed by sexual abuse. That is also something which we have to teach them. Every parent tells them that the pregnancy and the STI and all those things like that, that is all like, I think all the parents know, and they in some way or the other even the schools, they are telling them that this could be the dangers. Regarding online also, we have to tell them that the porn, how bad it is, how it impacts your psychological psychology, and how it is just like it is all a fiction, like Amitabh Bachchan jumping from the 10th floor and yet not getting hurt. It is something like that. It is something mocked, and you don't have to believe and don't have to expect the same things in real life. Then also about sexting, that if you are sending some messages across, then they are the permanent footmarks and you will be in trouble, if not now, some other time later in life. So all those things have to be told. And anything like touching, watching, sending photos or asking for photos, even making sexual comments and jokes, all is something which falls under the realm of POXO, and it is not to be indulged into. Especially some there are child on child sexual abuses, adolescent abusing the children who are younger to them, and they could fall into the clutches of law. All this has to be, I think it all is and much more than this falls into the sexual behavior and the consequences, and there could be like we could go on and on.
On and on. Yes, Dr. Swati, and the most important thing is, attending webinars like this, when they get, aware of what is happening. Some parents don't know what is sexting. They don't know what is online dating, and their children are already on, something like Tinder and sites like that, and they have no idea. Kuch nahi pata unko. What sort of materials they are using. Even I, as a gynecologist, got to know so many recent things which adolescents taught me, that this is available on Amazon.
Yes.
For that, I will take a live workshop for that, how to impart that knowledge to the parents. And we ourselves have to be, in touch with what is happening on the net, so that we can impart, right knowledge to our children. And please keep a watch on their activities on social media. You should be knowing what your child is doing. Dr. Om Sai, again disturbing you. Sir, you would please
I would add something to Dr. Swati?
Yeah.
So this is what I said. As pediatricians, it will be our duty to start alerting the parents, even from the preschool days of when the children are using mobiles. They should be aware of these cyber crimes and how these children can get lured into keeping a close watch. My question that you had asked earlier also. So primarily looking after their digital health is very, very important. I think it's more important than a lot of other issues.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Dr. Om Sai, please.
Yeah, Dr. Swati Madam has really covered the topic very nicely, and then she told very important tips from starting from touch, how good touch, bad touch, etc., and sexual characteristic features, including the legal POXO, etc. What I have tried one strategy. How it helps, we can discuss here. Basically, one family was there. The grandfather and the mother of the child, of the adolescent child, adolescent girl, came to me, and then they were complaining that the adolescent girl is involved in some relationship, and we are not able to understand how to help her, and we are not able to communicate with her. So one strategy which we executed there, after having a lot of discussions and educating them, we chose one particular movie. I forgot the name of that movie, and it was having the same story, like one young girl will be there, and another young boy, they will be in relationship, and then POXO comes into picture. The consent is there, but still because of the POXO.
This is a scenario which we every day are facing. We as gynecologists are facing. Yeah.
So what we did is that we requested the grandmother and the child, adolescent girl, to watch the movie together, and then give the the opinions, and then they relate to their own perspectives, and then they came out with a lot of solutions, and then lot of precautionary measures which grandmother can tell to the granddaughter. So these are some strategies which we can use. And lastly, one important thing which we can tell is that we should have checks and on the adolescent girls and boys, when you are suspecting any sexual encounters, and you shouldn't hesitate to have some checks. And strategy is again like, you need to prime. For example, an adolescent boy is going to the pub, let's say, or some meeting or some get together, etc. Grandmother or grandfather can very easily say, बेटा आप तो जा रहे हो तो जा रहा है, but लेकिन मैं थोड़ी देर के बाद मैं फोन करूंगा. Just give a smile. Tell him that I am going to supervise, I am there with you, and then you do call, and then क्या हो रहा है यार, क्या कर रहा है? You can ask this much. You don't have to, you shouldn't cross your limit, and that's what Madam said very correctly. I say that you cannot do policing. You have to be only parent, and you do only parenting. Suppose, what is the meaning? Meaning that आप उसका neck के ऊपर बैठ के फिर you cannot be pressurizing, and you cannot be
laterally you can have an eye on her. Yes. There was one film, sir, you reminded me of that I don't remember the name of the film, where the grandparent that grandchild went to the pub, and somebody was going to assault her. The grandmother reaches the pub at that time only and saves the grandchild from that assault. And
Bhagwan. That is the movie Bhagwan.
Yes, Bhagwan. So that is how the grandparents can help the grandchildren to understand what is right and what is wrong.
Right.
Yeah. So that is a very important part. And imparting discipline on screen time is very, very important.
Chandan, can I add to that, please?
Yes, please. So this is a topic where everybody should add. Everybody should add.
So sexual behavior, we teach them about sexual behavior that has been so nicely explained by Swati Ghate and Dr. Om Sai. But one thing very important here is that along with that, we need to teach them about safety as well, because a lot of people are into consensual sex. So remember that they have to know not only about POXO, they have to know about safety, contraception. They have to know about how to behave when they are out with their people. That is, I have known of a lot of people who could not even remember when they went into sexual activity, but because something had been added into their drink. So we need to tell them about these happenings and discuss such things, that never leave your drink unattended. If you're going to the toilet, come back, dispose of that drink, because somebody could have added the rohypnol into that. So these are some safety tips which we need to impart about sexual behavior to them also.
Yeah. Another thing is that they should be, actually, that the adolescents should be aware about two things. Number one is contraception, don't become pregnant. Number two is safe sex, because safe sex is important because of sexually transmitted diseases. You can land up in HIV and other sexually transmitted diseases if you are not taking proper precautions. I am talking to young adults who are indulging after age 18. Before 18, according to our laws of the land, we come under POXO and you will be in trouble legally. So everybody should have a knowledge about, even parents, even teachers here should understand that if you see anybody indulging in sex before 18 years of age, even you will be caught by the law of the land and will be punished for that. You have to inform the authorities regarding that. It is not only doctors who come under POXO law, it is the teachers, anybody else who sees that child is involved in sex before 18 years. So, Dr. Pyali, as a grandparent, how are you preparing? I mean, how do you advise grandparents to prepare for the adolescent? I mean, suddenly a parent cannot change. So parenting has to begin right from the childhood. अब जैसे बचपन में मेरे को पेरेंट आता है, आप लोगों के पास आता है यूजुअली पेडियाट्रिशियन के पास, मेरा बच्चा मैगी खाता है, 2 साल का बच्चा है और वो मैगी खाता है. वो मैगी किसने लाई? वो पेप्सी किसने लाई? वो तो तुमने लाई, तुमने इंट्रोड्यूस किया, अब तुम क्यों कंप्लेन कर रही हो? So parenting starts from the childhood, small, once the baby is born. So वहां से शुरू होकर फिर वो adolescent पे आता है. So how do you prepare yourself for those years of your grandchild?
So very rightly said, Chandan, this is a continuum actually. We, as I said, we are custodians, we transmit the legacy to them. So if I remember my parents talking to my child, they would sing in the loris that we have. They would sing Aacci Chandro Duye Pokho, means 1 is for 1 moon, 2 is for 2 Paksh, Chandra Shukla Paksh and Krishna Paksh. So they would sing the loris in a way that they would impart history, geography, astronomy, everything to the child. So I think as a grandparent, I would love to do that to the child. Fill him up with things that will occupy his brain, promote his thought process into thinking about not only twinkle, twinkle, little star, but he must understand what the star is. Not give, when I'm trying to dispel misconceptions which he might learn. So I am preparing myself to be a friend, be a role model to the child. I would not want to interfere with him, but I would like to be a friend with whom it could be communicate. I mean, the child, when he is in a jeopardy, in a difficult situation, I want the child to come to me and confide in me. So I want to be the confidant, the friend that the child, as growing up, is actually needing to learn and to persevere. So that way, I am actually trying to bring in a lot of patience into me to nurture this child up into something who's going to be a good citizen of India.
So I had a wonderful panel, and I think I am on time. It's 12 o'clock. So take home messages from me and the whole panel. Thank you so much, esteemed panelists, for getting your ideas here. And I would like to take some message from Dr. Sameer. Are you there? Dr. Sameer, are you there? Dr. Swati Bhavan,
yes,
ma'am?
madam. Yes, madam.
Few golden words, sir.
Yeah, it's a what I can say. Almost everything you had covered in these 2 hours of the regarding the parenting and grandparenting thing, from the starting of the nurturing to the safety. This is a very sensitive issue of that sexuality. Also, you had covered along with a behavioral part. So I can say it's a really a golden 2 hours. What we can say about the behavioral issue and the overall nurturing of the grandchildren, and it's a really a combination what we really want, that is the parenting and grandparenting should be the co-parenting rather than the with a conflict, and that we really get a good message from the each and every our doyens of the adolescent, what we can say, including the Dr. Piali, Dr. Swati. Omsa is always happy to hear him, and along with Dr. Pamde sir and Dr. Sunita Manchanda and Dr. our Prem Latha madam, all are really having a wisdom of their grandparenting also with they're having a wisdom of the parenting also there, and they are all are the expert of the adolescent specialists. So they're having all the added flavor, which will give this panel a great, really interactive and really good take-home message thing. Only what I can conclude is that thing there should be the parenting, grandparenting, and grandchildren. All three have their own entity. Let give them a real message that they can having their own rights and regulation. There is no something like one has overcome the other. Both all three are on have to remain on one page. Then and then all the issues can be sorted out on regular basis. That's the real thing what we have to give. Second important thing message that to the parenting and the grandparenting, that all the age group has different parenting style will require. So there is no specific style is absolutely correct style for the any age group or the any consequences. It's a tailor-made for a specific related situation where your parenting work, and that is a real parenting. It's a mixed made parenting rather than the any specific style. So we have not want to adapt any style. Second and third and last important thing, that we having a no doubt our own dreams are there, but don't adopt that dreams should be come through the positive either from the parents or the grandchildren. There should not be because they all have their own dream. So let's nurture them dream rather than try to think that they should cover our dreams. That's a basic message. Thank you.
Yes. That is why we have named our project as Udan. Unko
Yeah.
Udan di.
And that's why we have kept this week also call aaj aur kal.
Yes. And Dr. Swati Bhav ma'am is there.
Yes,
yes, ma'am.
It was a real wonderful session, and Sameer has taken each person's name, so I'm not repeating the names, but each person who has come as a panelist here is a stalwart in adolescence. And we all have heard them so many times on IAP platform, AHA platform, and they are really doyens of this subject. And I'm so happy and proud that they joined this session. I enjoyed listening to each one of them. And Chandan, you're an excellent moderator. And you kept the flow so beautifully going and to time everything. So I think it was a wonderful collaboration. And I look forward to further Udan and Aacci collaboration as we have been doing in the last 2-3 years. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving me opportunity to collaborate with Aacci, and it's a wonderful symbiotic relationship we have with each other. Over to you for your further program. And thank you very much, audience and Dr. Paramjeet, for letting people know about and taking advantage of our discussion. And it comes to next level when your school participates in our. And we end this whole program with one grandchild. That is, this grandchild is my another chief guest for this panel. What is her name? Dr. Pyali, please introduce your grandchild to us.
He is Devang, and he has come to listen to all of us on grandparenting. And Swati ma'am, I actually dedicate all the knowledge to you because you are one mentor who has taught me so much. And if I can impart even a little bit to this little one, I will be so privileged. Thank you so much, all of you.
I enjoyed mentoring because each one of you are a diamond which just required little polishing.
So this program is also having almost complete, just come to end to our adolescent Aacci week, that is we are dedicated to the grandparenting. So this is also one of the valedictory program with such a excellent speaker. So now it's this week is also going to come end, but our activity will not going to come to end. So our Aacci week will be definitely going to continue with some other way with the same messages what we want to spread to our adolescents, our parents, and all the grandparents nowadays with our all expertise what we have, what is our thoughts and our all dedicated work to our own children and youth. That is a basic our theme of this week. So before we have start that thing, I will thanks a lot to the Chandan Kachru madam for giving such a excellent planned program today for our ending of this our valedictory program. So now it's a time to recap what we did in the different Aacci center at different places, because this is a whole week will be conducted by the Aacci across the India by our 11 center, including the one international activity also we yesterday just completed with Dr. Grandes with his family with a really excellent success. Our volunteers really working enthusiastically for doing now not only online but the offline activities are done, not only related with the grandparenting talk, but they are also involved themselves for the activity related with the grandparents themselves. So let us each and every participants of the volunteers from the different centers of the Aacci, starting from our Marathawala center, Dr. Niti Soni ma'am.
Good afternoon, Samir sir, and good afternoon, all the dignitaries who are present here. Can I do my slide shares?
Yes, sure, ma'am. So we have almost more than 20 activity in just a 1 week, 7 days and 20 plus activity what we had did. And most of the all activities this time are the physical activity rather than the only 5 activity that we had did across the country on online platform. And for that, I really thank the Clarinet also for a very flawless availability of this platform. I really thank the Clarinet also for this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, Niti ma'am, you can continue.
Grateful.
Yeah.
So coming from the Marathwada region, amongst the newer regions which have been started by Aacci. So we celebrated the week with the free health checkup camp on 21st of July, where we had the urology camp, orthopedic, dental, then ophthalm, and ultrasound, and homeopathy doctor who had conducted these camps. Around 85 people were benefited. This camp was taken in my own area, which is called as the doctor's area, where all the hospitals are just very nearby, and around 85 senior citizens took the benefit of this camp. These are few of the photographs of the camp. It was done in collaboration with the Mahesh Nagar Prabha, and was attended by lots of senior doctors as well. On the same day, we had a second program from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., which was a workshop conducted at Hedgewar Hospital. And the volunteers of the Hedgewar Hospital there was a role play conducted there, and there were lots of interactive sessions and lectures taken on grandparenting for these volunteers. This program was conducted by Dr. Trupti Borurkar, Dr. Asavri Kaushik, Dr. Renu Borarkar, and was attended by Dr. Datta Kadam sir. So these are the photographs of the program. Around 40 people attended this program. Then 22nd, we had a fun activity for the grandparents, which was attended by 35 parents, where housey, then lots of the different hobbies that these grandparents have, like poem recitation, then Gwalan performance, and then they had their shared their experiences there. This program was conducted by a volunteer, Dr. Manisha Monkar, and it was very well appreciated. The program was called as Aji Ajoba Masti Ani Dhamal. This is one of the poems which we have shared, written by one of the grandparents, and the other photographs. The photograph down shows the acting which was done by one of the grandparents. This is the current program going on right now in Aurangabad, where endocrinologist is conducting this program, creating awareness about diabetes, hypertension, and thyroid in the second inning of the life of the person, that is the senior citizens. And Dr. Mangala Borkar, who is the professor of geriatrics in the Government Medical College, Aurangabad. This program is going on right now. And just a few photographs which we got on the WhatsApp, I'm just sharing it with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, madam, for the excellent work done by your team. And it's really a great teamwork what you showed. It's a really great to think. Swati, madam, your comment on?
No, Niti, please give my congratulations to Dr. Datta Kadam and your entire Marathwada team. You took a lot of effort. And I'm sure so many of these grandparents, you brought joy in their life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Now I requesting the Dr. Abhijit Bharadwaj sir to give a Nagpur activity details.
Hello. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes. We conducted one activity last Sunday at GH Raisoni High School, and about 20 grandparents attended that meeting. It was an interactive session based on the questions which has been provided by Aacci, and myself, Dr. Chorgade and Dr. R.G. Patil were present. And the program was well attended and everybody appreciated it. Tomorrow we have got one more program which will be taken at Hanuman Mandir near Dr. R.G. Patil's house. And it will also be an interactive type of program. So we have planned these two activities, and that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Sangeeta, madam. Swati, madam, you have to unmute.
Thank you, Dr. Abhijit. We got lovely photos of your last interactive program, and you could see how much the audience was enjoying. And we look forward to the photos of tomorrow's program. Give our congrats to Aacci, Vidarbha, and Nagpur.
Thank you. Thank you, madam.
Now I request Dr. Sangeeta Lodha, madam, for give the details about their centers. Dr. Sangeeta, madam.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, sir. A very good morning. Good afternoon to all. We have done very nice two activities in two different Vridhashram. And it was really an amazing activity we have taken. Actually, we choose the grandparents. To them, their kids have left in the Vridhashram. So we spent quality time with them. We took Antakshari, ramp walk, and other activities like just picking the cheat and doing action. Then Garba program. In this way, we have taken a totally out of the box programs into different Vridhashram, and this has inspired us so lot that we have thought that we will visit all the Vridhashram in Nasik. So thanks for the Aacci to just bringing this idea in my mind that we have to do something for grandparents. So I just really thanks by heart to Aacci Foundation who has brought this idea in my mind. So I think we must do something for Vridhashram. The grandparents, to them, grandchildren have left, our kids have left in the Vridhashram. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Sangeeta. You have become the president of Rotary Nasik, and we look forward to collaboration with Rotary Nasik to reach all the Vridhashrams in Nasik. And the videos which you shared,
yes, sure,
where we saw the ramp walking of these senior citizens and the singing, it was so inspiring. And the way you all Nasik team motivated for them to come out of their shell. And it was really inspiring to watch. And I think with Rotary, we'll collaborate and we'll reach all the Vridhashrams. Thank you so much. Really,
sure.
We are also inspired by whatever you did. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, who else now? Sameer, next.
Next, I requesting the Dr. Amog from the Navi Mumbai to give the details of her program.
Good afternoon, everybody. We from Navi Mumbai are very happy to be a part of Aacci Grandparent Week. And it's amazing to see the plethora of activities which have been going on offline as well as online in the last week. And I really thank you all for this beautiful opportunity. We had an interactive session with two senior citizens from Kharghar, Dr. Avinash and Dr. Shalini Walinchkar, who themselves are, grandparents, and they shared their wonderful experience about parenting, as well as how grandparenting has changed over the last decade with the present scenario with the new generation. So we thank you for the opportunity, and we as youngsters look forward to your guidance, and all the new ideas which you've seen in the last week have been really inspiring for us. And we look forward to more such activities. Thank you so much, sir, and Swati ma'am.
Unmute ma'am.
Thank you, Amog. It was very nice to see Walinchkar's grandson, Omkar, who is in USA, to make a very sweet video about his experiences with his grandparents and sharing with us.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
I now request Dr. Bakulesh Chauhan from the Vadodara for this activity what we had conducted.
Good afternoon all. We have conducted one activity with State Institute of Family and Health Welfare, where Dr. Sameer Shah has taken the things how the grandparent can do digital activity, and Dr. R.K. Bakshi has taken the importance of grandparenting roles. And one more activity we have planned with Amicus International School, in which we were to take a panel discussion with parents, grandparents, and children. But unfortunately, because of heavy rain, the school has to suspend the program. And another school also we have planned, but we will be conducting that activity next week. Thank you, Aacci, for encouragement and as always with us. And we have Sameer with us, so we are placed Baroda branch.
Thank you, Bakulesh.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bakulesh. Sameer is a very inspiring person. And naturally in Vadodara, he's going to be the most active person with the activities. And thank you. We really enjoyed seeing the photos. Sameer, next one.
Yeah. I requesting Dr. Sandeep Kaure for the activity they had planned for their center.
Opportunity. We at PCB Center, we have conducted two activities till now. So first activity we conducted yesterday, which was with Intelligent Cadet School, which is a school nearby, where there were about 80 parents and grandparents, and it was about how habit formation, the good habits can be inculcated, healthy habits. This was for primary school students, and how parents and grandparents can play a role. Today we had a associate collaboration with the Sharda classes over here. I standard students, and how parents and grandparents can play a positive role to maintain the mood, atmosphere, and motivation of the students to for this 9th and 10th board preparation. We are planning similar activities. 2 activities are planned this coming week. With Intelligent Cadet School, we had done it for primary school till first and second. We are targeting for the classes 8 to 10. So they are going to give data in this week. And we could not get a Vruddhashram over here, but what we have planned is there is a old age group which meets this. We have planned a program at Vatsalya where we have a small talk with them and we'll do a health checkup for them. So we'll be doing their basic blood investigation, ECG and BSL from our hospital, Vatsalya Mother and Child Care. And our physician, Dr. Allad ma'am is there, who is part of Aacci team. So she will be checking them. So that is the plan for this week's 2 activity and 2 activity. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Sandeep. And they have planned on 6th August, a huge program of parenting. Can you tell us a little about it?
What we have targeted is we are running a child development center at Vatsalya. And the challenge is that many of the patients reach late to us because pediatricians, not only pediatricians, all the general practitioners, they don't have a view of whom to refer, what to do of these children, and what are the targets. So what we have done is we are conducting a total session of parenting and how to identify for general practitioners. Nearly 200 general practitioners have registered, and in collaboration with Aacci, we have taken all the age groups. So neonatal age group, how to identify what to do. Then for autism, dyslexia, ADHD, what kind of identification, what tools can be used by general practitioners so that they can identify patients. And after that, we have a special session with Swati Bhabe ma'am. She will be talking about parenting challenges which we ourselves face and our patients face. So she'll be talking about that. And Aacci member Dr. Bhageshri Devkar is there. She will be talking about how to identify the high-risk adolescent and when to refer and how to get other professionals involved so that we can identify early. So the effort is that we do the activities in small silos at our places. But if we can create community awareness about these problems, we can help these children early. So that 6th August, about 200 parents in an auditorium we have booked, and 9 to 2 o'clock we have planned a workshop.
Thank you, Sandeep.
So this is the one of the great celebration of this year. It's between the 17th to 23rd, and today is the last day with an excellent theme. What we had decided in our volunteer meeting, that is the Kal, Aaj aur Kal on grandparenting. It's a really excellently executed by the each and every center. And at the same time, we having a since 2021, we are celebrating this Aacci week. And 22, we are also having an excellent program differently. And now, this year, we did a few online activities that I will just give in the brief, and then we can conclude this session up with our executive director and chairperson's talk. So we had having a one starting activity on the day 1, that is on the 18th of July by the Navi Mumbai, that Amog has already told. That was the online session. We having one more session on the 19th July by with Dr. Samir Dalwai and his team on New Horizon regarding the dealing with a behavioral issue in grand parenting with a grand expertise. Yesterday, we having an excellent online session with our international forum with Dr. Grandis and his family, and we having a really a view sharing with how the different grandparenting ultimately having a same page. There is a no motive change, but the method may be changed. So this is what that was the grandparenting of the new era that we had discussed on that thing. We having one more session on the private Zoom of the Cathedral and John Cannon School with a primary school principal, Miss Sarmira Lele madam, and in that our speaker was Dr. Anuradha Suwani. So this is all about, in short, about the few online programs what we had done also at a national level also, and it's a really a great teamwork to which we have to conclude our Aacci week. But our work is not going to complete in just within 1 week, because our own other activities are still going on. And this extended week activity of more than 2 or 3 weeks, we will continue regarding with same thing. And this is just one thing what we had taken for to upgrade the activity. But we are having a many more activity in pipeline, which is our main motto of the holistic development of the adolescent and child care in India. So that is our main aim and objective. So now I requesting our chairperson, Dr. Yashwant Bhave sir, to give a few words.
Thank you, Samir. It has been a wonderful experience. I have participated in some of the programs, especially international program yesterday with Dawn Gradanas, amazing family, grandparenting and so on. Now, I will not make a speech because everything that had to be said has been said. And one feels a bit worried to say something in front of the wife, though she may be executive director. I always felt, at least from our own family and others, that grandparenting have a very crucial role. It's not a platitude. It is actually a very crucial role. And with the increased technological infusion and I would say assault, it has become all the more difficult and accentuated. For example, we have now the new thing of AI, ChatGPT, information explosion, false news, social media, which are good as well as can be very deleterious. And the grandparents with their experience along with the parents have to be a very much part of it, can give a proper direction and proper context. Text without context is nothing. So context has to be given to whatever text is there. Secondly, more interaction, physical interaction with the child or the students is absolutely necessary. And along with the parents, the grandparents have an important role there, partly because they have more time, partly because with age comes patience, partly because they can ignore at times the foibles, I won't call it faults, but foibles of the child and so on. So they can influence in a proper manner the what I said yesterday, moral compass of the student. That is what is very important in today's life, where everybody seems to be losing that particular virtue of moral compass. Thank you, and I'm really grateful for all the 11 centers, the participants, voluntary participants, and all the persons who have participated in this very exciting program. And Aacci is what is it because of all of you. So thank you all very much for your excellent dedicated work, voluntary work, very rare these days. So we appreciate it and deeply value it. Thank you very much.
So before I just hand over the mic to the Dr. Swati Ma'am, we just appreciate the efforts of the NCR region. Also, we just miss it because of they have to leave for the one more physical program just after the completion of this 2 hour webinar with the Dr. Chandan Kachru. That was a physical program. So NCR also having 3 programs there conducted and including today's webinar. Yes, ma'am. Up to
Yes.
Now over to you.
So first of all, I would like to thank Dr. Samir Shah. As usual, he has coordinated the whole week very beautifully, and he'll come out with an excellent report as usual. I thank all the centers, Sangeeta Lodha, Niti Soni, Datta Kadam, Amog, Bakulesh Chavan, Sandeep Kaude, and Abhijit Bharadwaj, because they have really brought in many creative programs and made this week very vibrant. And I just wanted to give one experience. Those but they've also said that if you are interacting and communicating with your grandparents, then that interactivity should be done and that screen time should be allowed. And so I had been in communication with my granddaughter on the screen for the last 3 years during COVID. And the moment she saw me in November, it was as if we have been continuously meeting, and she hugged me and we had the same connection. So at least as far as remote grandparenting of children who are abroad is concerned, this digital revolution is really a boom. At the same time, we have to be careful, as all the panelists have been saying, about the adverse effects of screen and reducing excess screen time. So once again, I thank all of you for your wonderful participation. And as we know that the week is only a beginning, And our Aacci grandparenting programs are not going to end. We are going to continue doing them. Thank you once for everybody. Samir, take over.
So it's a really a great activity what we all have done. So it's a time to thank you to each and every one on behalf of the Aacci Center. National level, we are able to do the activity, few of that. Our few centers has not able to do activity because of the heavy rain. And that will be they can continue that with the throughout the year. The activities want to going on. And I'm requesting each and every delegate who are really actively involved in our session, not as a physically as a faculty or something, but they are the good listener of our activity, and they are giving a good complimentary comments after the session by the email also, by WhatsApp also, and the other media parts also. So I'm thanking each and every delegate who are remaining present actively or inactively in these sessions. I thank you to that. My volunteers not require any thanks because they have to continue the activity more and more. So they have to work hard to give a more better performance of the Aacci. So once again, we are now concluding our week. Thank you.
And thank you, ClearNet, for your excellent support for all the programs and today's concluding program.
And we are expecting same partnership for the coming year also.
Ritupurna, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much to the whole team.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. We are always grateful to have you and the whole team with us. And we are looking forward to have such sessions in future also.
Thank you so much. Samir will be coordinating with you as usual. Thank you.
Sure, sure. Thank you.
So we can continue, ma'am.
Yes. So just kindly allow me some few more minutes. So I would like to thank everyone present here for extending us the opportunity to host this session. And I hope you had a seamless experience throughout the entire session. With all due permissions, then I'm closing the session here today and looking forward to host you again very soon. Thank you, everyone.
Ritu, just stop the recording and live streaming so we can just having a
yes, sure.